What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of our What If series, where we take Marvel characters, create them in NHL 23, and simulate an entire career for them. It's been a blast so far. We've done Bruce Banner, Tony Stark, and Peter Parker, and now moving on, as voted by you guys, we have here Thor Odinson. So let's get right into it and show you guys how we have him set up. Obviously, they didn't have Thor as his play-by-play name, not that it matters too much. We'll have him set as a two-way defender, rocking the number 64. Why? I don't really know. I just felt like it fit him for whatever reason. He's a unit of a dude, 6'3" and 215 pounds. So you do not want to run into this guy. He is just solid. We set his birth year to 2006, so that way he will actually be in the 2024 draft. I was super indecisive about this. I know for the last two, I had them in the Connor Bedard draft, but I figured might as well just move them down a year so that way we can have some more unpredictability with the teams that could be winning the draft lottery. You know, we sort of know in the simulation here, you're going to have like Chicago, Arizona, Montreal, Anaheim, pretty predictable teams, but you sim out a year and you just, based on free agency and trades, you just never know what's going to happen with the simulation. So this will give it a bit more unpredictability with where he'll end up. And we'll go to his appearance here. I think, all things considered, I think I did a pretty good job. You know, still a good looking guy there. Got some nice flow going on. The long hair options in this game are few and far between. As far as like good ones go, most of them are just like mullets. But I think he looks pretty handsome guy there. So not bad at all. As for his attributes, we'll set him to a medium franchise potential, bumped up his speed and agility and things like that. I know when you have bigger guys in this game, their skating abilities can suffer, but obviously we want him to be pretty overpowered. He's a god, so he should be. Set his shoot pass bias as well to be a little leaning towards shooting. Want to see him get that offensive capability developing. And for his abilities, obviously the God of Thunder, we had to give him the Thunder Clap ability. Absolutely love that we could do something so fitting for this character here. And then he'll have Bouncer, Heat Seeker, Relentless, Unstoppable Force, and Tape to Tape. So kind of mixed in there with offensive and defensive superstar abilities. I think will complement that two-way defending pretty well. We want him to excel defensively while also contributing on offense. So I think that's a pretty good mix there. And yeah, that's Thor Odinson. So we have him starting at 81 overall, which means coming out of the draft, he will most likely be playing right in the NHL. We don't want him to waste a year in the AHL. So we will set up our franchise series here and sim out to the 2024 draft, see who wins the 2023 Cup in this alternate universe we have going on here, and we'll go from there. And in this alternate universe, how awesome would this have been, considering I am a diehard fan? The LA Kings are the Stanley Cup champions. They take down the Toronto Maple Leafs in 5 games. And also in our alternate universe, I'm sure a lot of people are actually kind of happy to see this. Columbus there, staying at number 1, actually no changes in the draft lottery. So in our Thor Odinson cinematic universe here, the Columbus Blue Jackets will be getting Connor Bedard. Alright, so I simmed out to the end of the 23-24 season, and Thor Odinson here projected to go number 1 overall in the 2024 draft. And in 2024, the Stanley Cup champions are the Dallas Stars as they take down the New Jersey Devils in 7 games. In the results of the 2024 draft lottery, so a year after winning the Stanley Cup, LA just absolutely bombed for whatever reason. I don't understand this simulation. So they end up with the first overall pick. So by all accounts, unless something wonky happens at the draft, it looks like Thor Odinson will be a Los Angeles King. So here we are at the draft, guys. Once again, just so weird with that simulation. LA, the worst team in the league the year after winning the Stanley Cup. And with the first overall pick, LA will select Thor Odinson. He actually went up in rating. That's pretty cool to see. From an 81 to an 83, medium franchise defenseman. Wow. Just very, very cool there. The reason none of his X Factors are listed is because whatever the team I'm managing here, we just didn't scout. I'm actually managing the Oilers. Little spoiler alert for you guys. But yeah, medium franchise put up some pretty impressive numbers there. And +2, averaging over 23 minutes of ice a night, 83 overall. And Thor is headed to La La Land. So to start year one in the NHL, Thor's actually going to be on that third pairing with Mikey Anderson. I mean, how this LA team was bad, I have no idea, because look at this defensive core they have. Oh my gosh. So Thor is going to be starting on that third pairing, 83 overall. He'll be on his entry-level contract, 3 years, $950K. So LA, lots of young players and things like that. So probably going to be a lot of contract decisions to be making as Thor goes through his first 3 seasons. So we'll see how he does. Obviously playing on that third pairing, not going to get a lot of minutes, but you never know how he might develop over the year, and we'll see how Thor does. And real quick, we'll take a look at Thor in that LA uniform, looking very, very sharp, rocking that number 64. And first season we go, Thor looking good. And it was a rough season for the Kings again. In Thor's first season, they don't make the playoffs, finishing second to last in the NHL with a record of 33, 41, and 8 for 74 points on the season. Thor, however, was quite impressive in his rookie season with LA, playing in 77 out of 82 games, scoring 12 goals and 17 assists to lead defenseman on the team with 29 points, and he put up a -4 rating, put up 156 shots on net, and he was actually starting getting power play time as he finished with 6 power play goals and 9 power play points total. He was averaging 19.5 minutes of ice per night, so I imagine he started playing up on that second pairing. So that's actually pretty awesome to see, and obviously getting power play time there with Luke Hughes, it looks like, will be his power play partner. So pretty impressive rookie season despite the poor showing from the team overall. And definitely looks like he can be that franchise defenseman that LA's hoping he can be for them. So we'll head out into his second season as he will look to take a big step forward in his sophomore year. And in 2025, the Stanley Cup champions are the Colorado Avalanche as they defeat the Washington Capitals in 6 games. And retiring in 2025, we'll have Van Riemsdyk, Apokso, and Lucic leading the way on the forwards. For defensemen, we'll have Jack Johnson and Gardner along with Mark Stahl. And for goalies, we will have Carey Price and Craig Anderson. All right, to start his second season, Thor now playing on the second defensive pairing. Still Mikey Anderson as his D partner. Nice pairing there. Now to an 86 overall. Another +3 jump over the off-season. Puck skills and defense are both 4 stars. Skating and physical are 4.5 stars. Senses, 3.5 stars. And shooting already up to a 5-star. He's got a nasty shot on him. He will be getting much more ice time this season as he'll be playing on their first power play unit with Brant Clark, and he'll be playing on the second penalty kill unit as well. So he is in for a much bigger year, and through the Thor's second season we go. And yet another tough season for the LA Kings as they finished dead last in the league with 64 points total, going 27, 45, and 10. Yikes. Despite another poor season from his team, that didn't stop Thor from taking another step forward as he posted 18 goals and 18 assists to lead the defenseman on the team with 36 points. He did put up a -14 rating though, unfortunately, but put up a whopping 254 shots as a defenseman. That's crazy, shooting 7.1%. Pretty high for a defenseman, actually. Scored 7 power play points, including 3 power play goals and 4 shorthanded points. My goodness. So his defensive play actually is quite good, but it seems goaltending has been holding this LA Kings team back as they actually do score quite a lot of goals, and averaging 22 minutes and 14 seconds of ice per night. So ice time going up, and he's absolutely showing LA that headed into his final year of his ELC, he can absolutely be the number 1 defenseman on this team. And in 2026, the Stanley Cup champions are the Buffalo Sabres as they sweep defending champion Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Finals. And retiring here in 2026, we'll have Anze Kopitar, Pavelski, and Wheeler leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, Brent Burns and John Carlson up there. Giordano actually playing until he's 42. What a legend. And for goalies, we'll have Jonathan Quick and Varlamov retiring in 2026. And to start his third season in the NHL, final year of his entry-level contract, Thor Odinson now up to an 89 overall at just 20 years old. He grew to 6'5", 228 pounds. Are you kidding me? Dude is just a absolute unit and a half. Still medium franchise potential. Check out his stats. Skating, physical, and shooting, all 5 stars. The fact that his skating actually has gone up even though he's 6'5", is insane. Puck skills, 4.5 stars, and then defense and senses, both 4 stars. Again, he is showing he can absolutely be the LA Kings franchise defenseman. That's why they drafted him last year of his entry-level contract, though, so he'll be looking to have a huge season for them and get that bag. And unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they just miss out on the playoffs again by literally 2 points, posting a record of 42, 36, and 4 for 88 points on the season. That is very, very unfortunate, but definitely a huge step forward from where they've been for the last couple seasons. And Thor once again takes a big step forward, putting up 23 goals, 24 assists for 47 points, second on the team for defensive scoring, but led all defensemen on the team with a plus 16 rating and put up a massive 248 shots on net, shooting at 9.3%. Absolutely crazy. He played in all 82 games, put up 10 power play points, including 6 power play goals. He also put up 1 shorthanded point and was logging just over 22 minutes of ice per night. So Thor once again taking a big step forward this season, and in his contract year, LA is definitely going to have to find the money to pay him. And in 2027, the Stanley Cup champions are the Arizona Coyotes. They actually won all their series in the Western Conference in 7 games before sweeping the Columbus Blue Jackets in the finals. And retiring in 2027, we'll have Patrick Kane, Bergeron, and Backstrom leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, we'll have Erik Karlsson, Goligoski, and Shattenkirk. And for the goalies, we'll have Fleury leading the way there, 587 wins. My goodness, what a legend. All right, headed into his 4th season, Thor is still on the LA Kings, now up to 233 pounds. Oh my goodness. 92 overall defenseman. Puck skills, 4.5 stars. Defense, skating, shooting, and physical, all at 5 stars, and senses there at 4 stars. He got a 1-year deal with LA worth $13.3 million, so he got that bag for an extra year. My guess is either LA just couldn't sign him long term at the money he wanted, or maybe they even get an offer sheet from someone for a year that they had to match. Regardless, Thor is staying in LA for at least 1 more season. And talk about having themselves a year as Thor and the LA Kings make it back into the playoffs. And not only that, they also are the President's Trophy winners with 115 points on the season with a record of 55, 22, and 5. And not only that, but Thor had his best season of his career so far, playing in 80 out of 82 games, scoring 16 goals and 49 assists to lead defenseman on the team with 65 points, along with an impressive plus 25 rating and a whopping 248 shots on net. He had 3 game-winning goals, a total of 13 power play points, 2 shorthanded points, and he was averaging just over 25 minutes of ice per night. So very impressive season from Thor, and certainly is not going to make it any easier for the Kings to work out yet another contract with him for the next season. And how about this, guys? Let's go Thor and let's go Kings, because they are the 2028 Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Washington Capitals in 5 games. Now, unfortunately for Thor, he was injured for a little while, playing in 20 out of the 24 games in that time, scoring 5 goals, 11 assists, and 16 points, third on the team for defensemen, along with a nice +5 rating, and shooting again, staggering 65 shots in those 20 games. He had 2 power play goals and 3 power play points. He also had almost 26 minutes of ice a night, so he was eating up the minutes. That's probably what contributed to his injury there, but still, he is a Stanley Cup champion nonetheless and was definitely instrumental to the team's success in the playoffs. And retiring in 2028, we'll have Ovechkin leading the way with 1,039 goals, absolutely smashing Gretzky's record. And whoops, I cannot navigate the menus here. As far as the defensemen go, we'll have Yossi, Letang, and Doughty all retiring. And for goalies, we'll have Grubauer and Brossoit leading the way there. And in his 5th season, Thor will remain with the LA Kings, still playing on that first pairing with Luke Hughes, now up to a 94 overall at just 22 years old. And take a look at his stats. Literally everything is 5 stars. My goodness, he is so overpowered. He actually gained some more weight now, 237 pounds, 6'5", and he still has 5-star skating, literally 94 speed. He is so overpowered. Literally a god in the NHL as well, and he got a big contract, 6 years at $14.885 million per year. So he got that Stanley Cup. He had that big season for LA, and they paid him, and they still managed to keep Luke Hughes and Brant Clark on the team. So very, very interesting. And same, look at their forward core. Oh my god, they still have Fiala, Turcotte, Byfield, this Langfield guy, Sugihara, and Coronado up there as well. The fact that they've been able to keep all these guys on their team is very, very impressive, and they have another very good squad coming off that Stanley Cup win. And a year after winning the Stanley Cup, Thor and the Kings are back into the playoffs again, finishing 12th overall in the league with a record of 41, 31, and 10, good for 92 points on the season. And Thor had himself yet another very solid season, playing in all 82 games, putting up 29 goals, 34 assists, and 63 points to lead defenseman on the team, along with a team leading for defenseman +19, and he put up 257 shots. He was shooting at 11.3% for defenseman. That's pretty nuts. He scored 8 power play goals and a total of 16 power play points, along with averaging just over 25 minutes of ice per night. And the 2029 Stanley Cup champions are the Tampa Bay Lightning as they take down the Minnesota Wild in 6 games. Unfortunately for the Kings and Thor, they were eliminated by the Wild in the first round in 7 games. And it was definitely a tough first round as the Wild found a way to hold Thor off the board as he only put up 3 assists in the 7 games and a -3 rating. He still put up 20 shots on net, but again, the Wild and their goaltending found a way to keep him off the scoreboard. And retiring in 2029, we'll have Malkin, Stamkos, Marchand, and Panarin leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, we'll have Fowler, Leddy, and Grzelcyk there. And for goalies, we will have Anderson and Kemper leading the way here. Going into his 6th season, Thor is now playing on the first defensive unit, with Brant Clark as the Kings lose Luke Hughes in the free agency. Still 94 overall, medium franchise potential at just 23 years old, and everything is 5 stars except senses drop down a little bit to 4.5 stars, but still, easily one of the most consistent defensemen in the game at this point. 5 years left on that big deal he signed with LA. After a disappointing first round exit, Thor and the Kings will be looking to make another good playoff push. And another solid regular season for the LA Kings and Thor as they finish 9th overall in the league with a record of 45, 29, and 8, good for 98 points on the season. And how about that for a career year to date? Thor playing in all 82 games and putting up 33 goals and 50 assists for 83 points, along with a nice +10 rating and putting up 292 shots, shooting at 11.3%, putting up 12 power play goals and 23 total power play points, along with a whopping 25 minutes and 47 seconds on average of ice time per night. Just what a career year for Thor. That has to earn him some Norris Trophy votes this season at least. Wow. And the 2030 Stanley Cup champions are the Anaheim Ducks as they sweep the Columbus Blue Jackets in the finals. Unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they were absolutely dusted in the first round by the Edmonton Oilers as they were swept. However, Thor did what he could from the blue line as he put up 3 assists in those 4 games and a -4 rating, but he put up 13 shots. Again, wasn't able to find the back of the net. And guys, riddle me this, I am so mad. So Werenski ended up winning the Norris. I have a feeling it's because he was a +38, and him, Thor, and Makar were only separated by literally, 1 point apiece, which just absolutely grinds my gears. Because, like, come on. We were so close. Retiring in 2030, we'll have Crosby, Kucherov, and Pacioretty leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, we'll have Gostisbehere, Slavin, and Severson. And for the goalies, Bobrovsky, Ullmark, and Murray leading the way there. And headed into year 7, Thor still playing on that first pairing with Brant Clark, up to a 95 overall at just 24 years old. Once again, all his stats up to 5 stars. After that career year he had, he'll be looking to follow that up with yet another big season. And back into the playoffs, once again, the LA Kings and Thor Odinson finish 11th overall in the league with a record of 44, 32, and 6, good for 94 points on the year. Just when we thought Thor probably couldn't get any better than last season, he did, as he played in all 82 games, once again posting 28 goals and 61 assists for 89 points, along with an improved +19 rating, shooting at 10.8%, putting up 8 power play goals and 22 total power play points. My goodness, averaging 25 minutes and 49 seconds of ice time per night. That has to be good enough to win the Norris this season. I swear to God. Oh my gosh. I would be like absolutely floored if he doesn't win the Norris with this, but I'm sure like probably Makar popped off or something and scored like 100 points, but we shall see. And the 2031 Stanley Cup champions are the Detroit Red Wings as they take down the Anaheim Ducks in 5 games. Unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they were eliminated by the Ducks in the second round in 7 games. And in those 13 playoff games, Thor put up 3 goals and 4 assists for 7 points along with an even rating. He also put up 37 shots on net, so he was shooting at 8% in those first 2 rounds. So not too bad from Thor. Unfortunately, the Kings couldn't get it done this season in the playoffs. And are you kidding me, guys? Thor once again getting snubbed for the Norris as Adam Fox wins it with only 2 points more, but a better plus-minus. Not by much, but still so close. Thor is almost there. He just needs to get that plus-minus up a little bit, and he could win the Norris, but yet another season that is so disappointing to see. And retiring in 2031, we'll have Tavares, Taylor Hall, Ryan O'Reilly, and Gabe Landeskog leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, we'll have Dougie Hamilton, Torrey Krug, and Josh Morrissey, along with Devin Taves, leading the way there. And for goalies, we'll have Markstrom, Binnington, and Jack Campbell retiring in 2031. Headed into year 8 of his career, Thor, 25 years old now, 95 overall, and he has a new first pairing D partner in Charlie McAvoy. So he should be popping off with that kind of defensive pairing there. And again, take a look at his stats. Everything's still 5 stars. Dude is just so incredible. 3 years left on his big deal with LA, and he is looking to continue to pump up the points and hopefully start chasing after his first Norris trophy at this point in his career. And another solid season for Thor and the Kings as they finish 2nd overall in the league, putting up 49 wins, 29 losses, and 4 overtime losses for a total of 102 points on the year. And I am so disappointed because Thor took a step back this season, but only because of a big injury, playing in just 61 games out of 82. But in that time, he put up 18 goals and 49 assists for 67 points and a plus 45 rating. Like, are you kidding me? He was on track for another massive season. Probably would have had, like Charlie McAvoy there putting up 89 points. Very likely would have had that many, if not more. I'm just like, oh my gosh, he just can't catch a break. The one season that, he really could have gone for the Norris Trophy there, he ends up having a big injury, but he is healthy and in time for the playoffs. And in 2032, the Columbus Blue Jackets are the Stanley Cup champions as they take down the Vegas Golden Knights in 5 games. Unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they were eliminated by the Knights in the second round in 7 games. And in those 13 playoff games, Thor stepped up big time as he put up 5 goals and 6 assists for 11 points, along with a nice +3 rating, along with 3 power play goals, shooting at 13.2% in the playoffs. So he certainly did his part, scoring 5 goals. Unfortunately, they just couldn't get past the Golden Knights. And retiring here in 2032, we'll have Johnny Hockey, Tyler Seguin, and Philip Forsberg leading the way. As for defensemen, we'll have Tony DeAngelo, Gustav Forsling, and Matt Dumba. And for the goalies, we will have Connor Hellebuck and John Gibson. Headed into year number 9 of his career, Thor Odinson, now 26 years old, still on that first pairing with Charlie McAvoy, still maintains that medium franchise potential, and all stats are 5 stars. 2 years left on his big deal with LA, and hopefully in his 9th year, Thor is going to look to avoid a massive injury and finally chase his first Norris Trophy. And I would really love someone to explain how the simulation decides when to make certain teams suck, because the LA Kings finished 30th in the league this season with a record of 31, 46, and 5 for just 67 points on the season. Literally what? And obviously with a down year, Thor definitely took a step back, playing in 75 of 82 games, scoring 18 goals and 23 assists for 41 points along with a -5 rating. Still put up 6 power play goals though, and shot a massive 238 shots on net. So pretty down year for Thor and the Kings. I just don't understand the simulations sometimes. And the 2033 Stanley Cup champions are the Buffalo Sabres as they take down the Chicago Blackhawks in 6 games. And retiring in 2033, we'll have McKinnon, Draisaitl, Larkin, Eichel, and Reinhart leading the way for the forwards. As for defensemen, we'll have Hedman, Theodore, and Jones on top there. And for goalies, we'll have Vasilevsky, Saros, Sorokin, and Vejmelka. And after that down year, Thor drops to 93 overall, still playing on that first pairing with Charlie McAvoy. He is now an exact franchise potential defenseman. As you can see, the only thing that dropped were his senses, down to 4.5 stars. Not a huge deal. He's on the last year of that big deal he signed with LA, so he's hoping to put up a big season in his contract year, avoid injuries, and hopefully the Kings can get back into the playoffs. Pretty decent defensive core there, and they add Kirill Kaprizov, so pretty nasty first line there. So he'll be playing with Turcotte and Byfield. So Thor and the Kings hoping to get back into the playoffs. And once again, a tough season for Thor and the Kings as they finished 24th overall in the league, posting a record of 37, 39, and 6 for 80 points on the year. However, Thor did improve a little bit from last season. He played in all 82 games, putting up 19 goals and 26 assists, leading the team for defensemen with 45 points, and he actually had a +14 rating, so pretty impressive there considering how, not great this Kings team was this season, shooting at 8.1%, and he put up 4 power play goals on the season and was averaging just under 25 minutes of ice time per night. Obviously, in the last year of his contract, probably not going to get, close to 15 million again. 2 down years for him for sure, but we'll see what happens with Thor. And in 2034, the Stanley Cup champions are the Winnipeg Jets as they take down the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. And in 2034, we'll have some massive retirements here. Barkov, Matthews, Scheifele, and Pasternak leading the way for the forwards. On defense, we'll have Fox, Werenski, and Riley retiring there. And for goalies, Ville Husso, Samsonov, and Blackwood. And wow, guys, headed into his 11th season, Thor decides to leave the LA Kings and sign with the Arizona Coyotes. Now 28 years old, he is a 93 overall. He'll be playing up on that first pairing with Matejchik, Arizona still has Chikrin here, which is pretty interesting. I guess he re-signed at some point with them. So exact franchise, take a look, everything 5 stars except senses, which are at 4.5 stars. And he signed a big boy contract, 7 years at 15.9 million per year. My goodness. So this Arizona team has pretty impressive defensive core here. Take a look at their offense. Wow, what a nasty first line. Garrison, Cooley, and Gunther. Rest of the team, though, leaves a lot to be desired. So maybe, Arizona is sort of at the tail end of a rebuilding phase and hoping that Thor can, be that catalyst they need to get back into playoff contention. But we will see how Thor's first season with Arizona goes. And take a look at Thor in the Arizona uniform. They give him an alternate captain letter on his jersey, still rocking number 64, and he is looking mighty sharp in that Arizona uniform. And guys, something I thought we should do again is watch Thor. He's in his prime right now, obviously. As you can see there, Cale Makar ended up signing with the Oilers. Very, very strange. But yeah, we're going to see how this Coyotes team is doing. They're actually doing very well this season so far. They're like 43 and something. So as you can see, their ratings there, they have 96 defense. They have a really good defensive core. And let's hop into this game and see what Thor can do. He actually scored a goal in this game, and I missed it. So we'll see if he can get another one. I also just realized that Thor actually is number 63 now. I don't know if maybe they signed someone else and he wanted 64. So yeah, Thor is now number 63 on Arizona. Okay, Thor absolutely decked them. Oh my god, he just absolutely clocked his lights out. Jesus, he's just like a human bowling ball. You put him out there, he's gonna knock everyone over. Alright guys, look at that. Thor has 81 points this season. Are you kidding me? He's well over point per game at this point. Because we still have like 2 weeks left in the season. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So he leaves LA after 2 down years, joins Arizona, and has like another Norris caliber season. Oh, look at that interception by Thor. He's trying to go backdoor. Thor's just, he's coming. He intercepts it, he clears, he's chasing after it. Up and down the ice. Look at how fast he is. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Just gives him nothing. You know he's got 81 points, so he's obviously putting his weight in on offense, but defensively has actually been very impressive to watch. Oh my god, Thor just literally killing people. Like, that man is dead. Goodbye. These people are just bouncing off of him. Oh my gosh. Alright, Thor's got the puck. Oh. Alright, he's got a really, really quick release. Okay, just pass it to no one, I guess. Look at Thor here. Look at that defensive positioning. It's actually quite impressive, like when you create a player and you actually see them play and they're good. Like, I know it's one thing for him to have like really impressive simulations, but to actually see him play here, not just the offensive chances he generates, but just his defense, but his defensive positioning has been really cool to watch. Alright, so that'll do it. The Arizona Coyotes beat the Oilers 5-2. As you can see here, Thor gets a goal and an assist for 2 points. Had 3 shots on net and just under 24 minutes of ice in the game. So pretty impressive to see him play. I actually kind of like doing that. I'll have to make a mental note to do that for future career sims that we do in the future. So obviously his first year with the Arizona Coyotes was very good in the regular season as they finished second overall in the league with a record of 51, 27, and 4, good for 106 points on the year. As for Thor, he put up his best season of his career, first year in Arizona, playing in 81 out of 82 games, putting up 24 goals, 66 assists for 90 points, and a plus .34 rating, put up 254 shots on net, 25 power play points, and averaging 25 minutes and 41 seconds of ice per night. And let's go, guys. In his first season with Arizona, Thor and the Coyotes win the 2035 Stanley Cup as they take down the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games, and what a dominant run they put on, sweeping the Wild, then beating the Blackhawks in 5, sweeping the Sharks in the Western Conference Finals before ultimately beating Pittsburgh in 6 games. As for Thor, he was certainly a huge piece to their success, as in their 19 games, he put up 3 goals, 13 assists, and 16 points to lead defenseman on the team, along with a +5 rating. He also added 2 power play goals and 4 power play points, along with averaging almost 26.5 minutes of ice time per night. And are you kidding me, guys? Yet again, Thor gets snubbed for the Norris, as one other defenseman in the league just has a slightly better season. Jamie Drysdale put up 98 points and a +53, so our guy Thor just cannot catch a break. Retiring in 2035, we'll have Mitch Marner, Kyle Connor, and Clayton Keller, along with other big names, rounding out the forwards. On defense, we'll have Rasmus Anderson, Ethan Bear, and Sean Dursey leading the way, and for goalies, we'll have Thatcher Demko, Georgiev, and Vanacek leading the way there. Already headed into his 12th season in the NHL, Thor, now 29 years old, a 95 overall, still playing up on that first D pairing with Matejchik. Very good first pairing here. Still exact franchise. Everything is still 5 stars. Just absolutely bonkers stats. Again, just 1 season into that massive deal he signed with Arizona, 7 years at $15.9 million. His very first season with the Coyotes, they won the Stanley Cup. So Thor and Arizona are looking to continue that momentum and have another solid season. And exciting news for Thor after their Stanley Cup win and after losing Jacob Chychrun in the free agency, he is now the captain of the Arizona Coyotes. Very, very cool to see that. So congratulations to Thor. And Thor and the Coyotes followed up their Stanley Cup winning season with a strong year, finishing 4th overall in the league with a record of 48, 29, and 5, good for 101 points on the year. And Thor followed up with another career year, posting his highest point total yet, playing in all 82 games, posting 30 goals, 66 assists for 96 points, along with a +13 rating. So we always talk about him getting snubbed on the Norris voting. I feel like the plus-minus this season definitely could snub him again. Regardless, though, 96 points, absolutely insane. Put up a massive 307 shots on goals. He also tallied 9 power play goals and 30 total power play points, averaging just under 25.5 minutes of ice per night. So another massive, massive season for Thor and a great season for the Coyotes. And how about this, guys? Thor and the Arizona Coyotes are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in 2036 as they take down the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games. They swept LA out of the first round, beat the Blues in 7, and then beat the Canucks in 6 before going on to take down the Leafs in 7. And how about that for a postseason as well from Thor? Absolutely one of the biggest reasons they won the Stanley Cup, as in those 24 playoff games, he put up 7 goals and 20 assists for 27 points, along with a +1 rating, put up 89 shots on net in the playoffs, along with 3 power play goals and 7 power play points, and he was averaging just under 27 minutes of ice time per night. So absolutely bonkers year overall from Thor, and a great, great season for the Coyotes as they cap off a back-to-back Stanley Cup run. And let's go, guys. Thor also finally picked up his first Norris trophy of his career after putting up a massive 96-point season and a 27-point playoff run. Absolutely unbelievable year from Thor. And retiring this season, we'll have Rantanen, Bratt, and DeBrincat, along with Pedersen, Dubois, Kachuk, ton of huge names retiring on the forward front. For defensemen, we'll have McAvoy, Chychrun, Dobson leading the way there. And then as far as goalies go, we'll have Ottinger, Shesterkin, Skinner, Thompson, and Gustafsson. Absolutely huge names in this retirement class. Headed into year 13 of his career, now 30 years old, still a 95 overall and still up on that first pairing with an 89 overall Matejchik. Thor and the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, Arizona Coyotes, are looking to have another fantastic season. He's looking up to follow his Norris winning campaign with yet another solid year. And for a third straight season, Thor and the Coyotes make the playoffs, this time finishing third overall in the league with a record of 46, 27, and 9 for 101 points on the year. Now, despite taking a small step back in terms of point productions this season, Thor played in all 82 games, posting 88 points, 46 assists, and 42 goals. As a defenseman, that's absolutely bonkers. He also posted a plus 15 along with firing 269 shots on net. Nice. Shooting at 15.6%. He put up 14 power play goals and a total of 19 power play points, along with 4 shorthanded goals. Are you kidding me, dude? He's averaging a little under 26 minutes of ice per night. I mean, again, slightly less points production, but 42 goals as a defenseman, that's absolutely bonkers. And unfortunately for Thor and the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Arizona Coyotes, they were eliminated in the first round by the Minnesota Wild in 7 games. Minnesota would go all the way to the Stanley Cup final before being swept by the New York Islanders, who are the 2037 Stanley Cup champions. And Thor was a big reason the Arizona Coyotes made it to 7 games in the first place. He put up 2 goals and 6 assists for 8 points in those 7 games, along with a plus 7 rating. Very strong postseason showing once again from their captain. And retiring in 2037, what a legend as McJesus on top there, 2,071 points total. What a legend, along with other huge names, Suzuki, Kaprizov, Caulfield, and Terry leading the way with the forwards. For defense, we'll have Quinn Hughes with over 1,200 points, my goodness, along with Ekblad, Bouchard, and Heiskanen. For the goalies, we will have Carter Hart retiring along with Joel Hofer. And headed into his 14th season, Thor Odinson, 31 years old, still a 95 overall and still playing on that first pairing with Matejchik there. Again, nothing expected to change here, still exact franchise potential, and everything is still 5 stars on his stats. So he has certainly been a franchise defenseman his whole career, first for LA, and then really coming into that franchise status of an absolute powerhouse, one of the best defensemen in the league his entire career, pretty much, capturing his first Norris just a couple seasons ago. And unfortunately for a first-round exit last season, Thor and the Coyotes looking to make another strong playoff push, as this season they added Anton Lundell, adding a little center depth down the middle there. So they'll be looking to have a strong season. And yet another playoff berth for Thor and the Coyotes as they finish 11th overall in the league, putting up a record of 43, 32, and 7, good for 93 points on the year. As for Thor, he had yet another very solid season, although not quite up to par with the last couple he's put up. He played in all 82 games and scored 19 goals and 55 assists for 74 points, along with a plus 14 rating, leading the defenseman on his team there. Put up 284 shots on net, along with 8 power play goals and 19 power play points overall, and averaging about 25.5 minutes of ice per night. In a very heartbreaking end for the 2038 season, as Thor and the Coyotes make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, only to get swept by the Buffalo Sabres. They went through Nashville in 6, Minnesota in 5, and Vancouver in 5, so they put on quite the run in the West, but ultimately couldn't stand up to the powerhouse that was the Sabres this season. And Thor played quite well in those 20 playoff games, putting up 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points, and a -1 rating. He shot 60 shots on net and was shooting at 13.3%, 4 power play goals, 6 power play points overall, and averaging a little under 27 minutes of ice per night. So yet another very strong postseason showing from Thor, definitely one of the biggest reasons they made it back to the Stanley Cup final. In more massive retirings this season, as we'll have Barzal, Tage Thompson, and Trevor Zegras hanging up the skates on the top of the forward list. As for defensemen, we'll have Drysdale, Sergachev, and Kalen Addison leading the way there. And for goalies, we'll have Luukkonen, Dustin Wolf, and Mads Søgaard leading the way for goalies. Also, Peter Kochetkov, very impressive there too. And in year 15, Thor, now 32 years old, still a 95 overall, he'll have a new first defensive partnering in Ed Murphy, also an 85 overall like Matejcik was, as he'll move down to the second pairing. So 31-year-old Ed Murphy and 32-year-old Thor Odinson looking to lock it down on that first pairing for Arizona. Still exact franchise. Everything is still 5 stars, as he is a superstar, defined superstar in this league. 3 years left on that massive deal with Arizona. After making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, Thor and the Coyotes are hoping for another strong season. And yet another season that Thor and the Coyotes make the playoffs, finishing 15th overall in the league with a record of 43, 34, and 5 for 91 points on the season. And yet another very strong season from Thor, as he played in all 82 games, putting up 25 goals and 47 assists for 72 points on the year, along with a very nice plus 23 rating. Put up 267 shots on net, 4 power play goals, 8 power play points, and 3 shorthanded goals. Oh my gosh. Averaging just over 25 minutes of ice per night. And in 2039, the Stanley Cup champions are the Nashville Predators, as they take down the Washington Capitals in 5 games. Unfortunately for Thor and the Coyotes, they lose to the Nashville Predators in the conference finals in 7 games. As for Thor, he played in those 17 playoff games, scoring 4 goals and 8 assists for 12 points, along with a plus 8 rating. Put up 58 shots on net, 2 power play points, and averaged 26.5 minutes of ice time per night. And retiring this season, we'll have Jordan Kyrou, Marco Rossi, and Nico Hischier, along with Gunther and Sillinger, leading the way for the forwards. As for defense, we will have Dahlin, Seider, and Edvinsson on top there. And for the goalies, we'll have Swayman and Lennox leading the way there. Headed into his 16th season, Thor, now 33 years old, dropping a little bit to a 94 overall. He'll have Wayne Prince as his first pairing partner, 82 overall though. He's now an exact elite potential, so at 33 starting to regress just a little bit. But as you can see, all of his stats are still 5 stars. 2 years left. As you can see, the salary appreciated now as the salary cap goes up. So he's now making $17.5 million bucks for the remainder of that deal. And this Arizona team looks a little rough. They kind of lost everyone. And looks like they could be entering a rebuilding stage towards the end of Thor's career here. So they're hoping to at least have a solid season, and we'll see how Thor does. And it was an unfortunate year for the Coyotes, as they miss out on the playoffs by just 1 point, putting up 90 points on the year with a record of 43, 35, and 4, finishing 17th overall in the league. So unfortunately, after such a good run, Thor and the Coyotes do not make the playoffs this season in 2040. However, Thor put up another very solid season, playing in all 82 games and scoring 21 goals and 46 assists for 67 points and a plus 3 rating. Put up 282 shots on net, scored 9 power play goals and 13 power play points overall. He's also averaging a little over 25 minutes of ice per night. And the really interesting thing here is that he actually led the team in points. So that certainly says a lot about your team when your leading scorer is a defenseman. And in 2040, the Stanley Cup champs are the Montreal Canadiens, as they take down the Nashville Predators in 7 games. And retiring in 2040, we will have Jason Robertson, along with Cole Perfetti and Jack Quinn and Logan Cooley, leading the way for the forwards. On defense, we'll have Jake Sanderson, Brant Clark, and Caden Gooley. Clark there, pretty cool to see, plays the entire career with the Kings. As for goalies, we'll have Wallstedt, Spencer Knight, and Askarov all retiring. All right, headed into the 17th season. Thor, now 34 years old, down to a 92 overall, and this Arizona defense looks rough. Literally, his defensive partner is a 77 overall, 24-year-old Tristan Eberle, so he's now down to exact top 4D potential. As you can see, the first thing to start falling is his senses. Everything is 5 stars, but senses are now 4.5 stars, and he'll be on the final year of his big contract he signed with Arizona, so we'll see if he looks to maybe go to a contender to finish out his career. But otherwise, what a career he's had so far, especially with Arizona bringing them 2 Stanley Cups. And hopefully in 2040, 2041, the Arizona Coyotes can have a decent season at least. And for the second straight year, Thor and the Coyotes do not make the playoffs as they finish 22nd overall in the league, 83 points on the year with a record of 38, 37, and 7. As for Thor, he still put up a very good season, playing in all 82 games, putting up 21 goals and 48 assists for a nice amount of 69 points, along with a plus 14 rating, 256 shots on net, 4 power play goals and 11 total power play points, along with 2 shorthanded goals and averaging a little over 25 minutes of ice time per night. And in 2041, the Stanley Cup champions are the New York Islanders as they sweep the Blues in the Stanley Cup Finals. And retiring in 2041, we'll have Mac Tkachuk, Anton Lundell, and Mason McTavish leading the way for the forwards. Quentin Byfield, they're also retiring. As for defense, we'll have Owen Power, Luke Hughes, Bowen Byram, and David Jiricek retiring. And for the goalies, we'll have Joel Blomqvist leading the way there. And this is pretty cool, guys. Headed into his 18th season, now 35 years old, Thor is back on the Los Angeles Kings. Now down to an 87 overall, he'll be playing on the first pairing with 32-year-old Reese Millman, who's an 83 overall. He is still a top 4D potential, so still very, very solid. Obviously, 87 overall, nothing to scoff at. Skating and shooting, still 5 stars here. Defense, puck skills and senses, all 4 stars, and physical, still 4.5 stars. He signed a 1-year deal with LA worth a $9.475 million. So pretty cool to see. Just kind of flip-flopped over there in the Western Conference, going from LA to Arizona, and now he's back with LA. This LA team has a pretty decent defensive core. Offense, definitely a very good forward core, much better than Arizona's. So Thor definitely thinks that this LA team could potentially be a contender, so we'll see what happens. And take a look at Thor back in the LA jersey, now with an A on his jersey. They actually never made him an alternate captain during his entire years with them, which was kind of crazy. So he's looking good back in that LA jersey. And now with a letter on his sweater, he'll be looking to bring a good season to LA. And it was a good year for Thor and the Kings as they finished 6th overall in the league with 101 points and a record of 49, 30, and 3. As for Thor, he led defensemen on the team, playing all 82 games and scoring 22 goals and 33 assists for 55 points with a plus 20 rating. Put up 278 shots on net along with 7 power play goals, 9 power play points altogether, and added 2 shorthanded goals as well, and averaging just under 26 minutes of ice per night. So at 35 years old, he is showing no signs of slowing down just yet, as he's still playing very, very well. And the 2042 Stanley Cup champions are the Florida Panthers as they take down the Blues in 5 games. Unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they were swept out of the first round by the Blues, who would eventually go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. And it was a tough first round for Thor and the Kings, but he still put up 3 goals for 3 points and a -6 rating, put up 15 shots on net, and all of his goals came on the power play. So certainly doing what he could, averaging a little under 26 minutes of ice time per night. And retiring in 2042, we'll have Jack Hughes, Eklund, and Othman, along with Matty Beniers leading the way on the forward side. As for defensemen, we'll have Minchikov, Matejchik, and Cristoforo retiring here. And for goalies, we'll have Devin Levi and Sebastian Kosa. And headed into his 19th season, Thor, now 36 years old, down to an 82 overall on the Anaheim Ducks. We'll be playing with the first pairing with a 34-year-old Pascal Lambert, also 82 overall. Now a top 6D potential. Skating and shooting are still 5 stars. Jesus. 3.5 stars on senses and physical, 3 stars on defense, and 2.5 stars on the puck skills. So certainly starting to regress pretty hard here. Might retire after the season. He signed a 1-year deal worth $10.5 million with the Ducks, so still getting that bag even at 36 years old. And him and the Ducks looking to have a better season. They have a very good forward core, so hopefully this Ducks team can go far in the playoffs. And take a quick look at Thor in the Anaheim jersey. They did give him an A on his jersey. Pretty cool to see. So he's definitely a leader. Every team loves having him, and he will look to continue that strong leadership in Anaheim this season. It's also pretty interesting how he stayed in the Western Conference his entire career, mostly in that Pacific Division from LA and now over to Anaheim, in Arizona for a little while, but he seems to like it out west. And unfortunately for Thor and the Ducks, they did not make the playoffs. They finished 21st overall in the league with a total of 86 points on the season and a record of 39, 35, and 8. And Thor here played in all 82 games, scoring 19 goals and 26 assists for 45 points to lead defenseman on the team. Also had a +5 rating, which also led defenseman. Put up 234 shots on net and 7 power play goals, 13 total power play points. He also averaged 23 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time per night. And in 2043, the Stanley Cup champions are the Montreal Canadiens as they take down the Chicago Blackhawks in 7 games. And in 2043, leading the forward retirement class, it will have Telquist, Macklin Celebrini, and Cutter Gauthier retiring here, along with Will Smith, Ryan Leonard, Quentin Musty. As for defensemen, we'll have Cale Makar, what a legend, retired with Edmonton. Over 1,700 points, along with Korchinski and Simon Nemec leading the way. And for goalies, we will have Sharma here retiring. So Thor still playing for a 20th season. And this is just absolutely crazy, guys. So in his 20th season, Thor is back in LA, now down to an 80 overall. The fact that he's the best defenseman on this LA team is not that great. His top pairing D partner is Oscar Gilson, 29 years old and 79 overall. Still has a bunch of X factors, now a 7th D potential. So no shot he doesn't retire this season. As you can see, skating and shooting are still 5 stars, which is absolutely bonkers. But defense and physical, 3 stars, senses, 3.5 stars, and puck skills now 2.5 stars. He signed a 2-year deal with LA worth $7.65 million. So he started his career in LA, and by all accounts, it looks like Thor is going to finish his career in LA. He wanted to come back to the Kings and finish out the remainder of his career. It's actually pretty awesome to see. So tough defensive core here. They do have some young guys though, 23-year-old Bernd Kaufman there on the second pairing. Forward core looks pretty impressive though. Lots of X factors, lots of high-rated guys. So hopefully this LA team can make it into the playoffs. And very nice for Thor and the Kings as they finish 4th overall in the league with 101 points on the year and a record of 46, 27, and 9. As for Thor, he's still playing very well at 37 years old. Played in all 82 games, scored 18 goals and 32 assists to lead the team on defense with 50 points. Also led defenseman on the team with a +15 rating, 214 shots on net, 7 power play goals, and 16 total power play points. He also averaged 22 minutes and 47 seconds of ice time per night. And unfortunately for Thor and the Kings, they ended up making it all the way to the Stanley Cup final in 2044 before losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. They took down the Flames in 5, the Blues in 6, and the Coyotes in 7 before falling to the Penguins. And in those 24 playoff games, Thor scored 4 goals and 2 assists for 6 points and a -2 rating, put up 44 shots on net. 3 of his goals were on the power play, and 4 of those 6 points were on the power play as well. He averaged about 16 minutes of ice per night, so it tells us that he's definitely regressing. Seems like he dropped down to that second pairing role. And after 20 seasons in the NHL, Thor Odinson calls it quits with the LA Kings at 37 years old. He played in 1,604 games, scoring 455 goals, 816 assists for 1,271 points as a defenseman. Very, very impressive. I absolutely love that, he was drafted by LA and then chose to come back and finish out his career with the Kings. I literally do absolutely nothing. I know sometimes people, make trades here and there, make signings to try and influence what could happen around the league when they do simulations. I literally have auto staff management, auto signed free agents on. I'm literally managing the Oilers as well. So really taking a backseat and just seeing what happens in these careers. And with the other characters we've done, Bruce Banner was actually stuck his whole career in Dallas. So him and Thor are the only ones that we've done so far that have retired with the team that drafted them. Obviously, Thor bounced around a little bit around the Western Conference, but not too much. Pretty consistent with the teams he played for. So that's pretty awesome to see. So basically, now we're going to go back, see what kind of, do a career overview for Thor and see if he broke any records with the teams he played. I probably doubt that he did, considering it's pretty tough to do, but still, very, very impressive career for him. So we will head into our career overview for Thor and just break down his stats and everything that he did. Alright guys, so here we are at the end of this career simulation for Thor, and as usual we're going to do a career overview and what a career he had. He was drafted first overall in 2024 by the Los Angeles Kings. He would go on to play 12 seasons with LA, 7 seasons with Arizona, and 1 season with Anaheim. And obviously the awesome thing about his career was after that 1 season with Anaheim, he decided to sign back with LA so that he could finish out his career with the Kings, the team that drafted him, the team that started it all for him. Coming back home and finishing his career there was really awesome to see. And in fact, out of the 4 that we've seen, he really loved the Southwest. He stayed, LA, Arizona, Anaheim, literally stayed in that climate, in that region. So he loved it out there. And that was awesome to see. He played a total of 20 seasons, and over the course of that time, with all his salaries, he made a total of $247.8 million. So he absolutely got that bag, and it was well deserved. Now, as for his career stats, he played a total of 1,604 games, scoring 455 goals and 816 assists for 1,271 points. Absolutely insane. And he was also a career plus 281. Really, really awesome. As for his playoff stats, he played in 172 playoff games, scoring 44 goals and 86 assists for 130 points, and was a cumulative plus 13 across all his playoff appearances. Now, as for his individual awards, he got 1 Norris Trophy, but the most important here is 3 Stanley Cups. So he's got 3 rings. 2 of them were with Arizona in that crazy back-to-back run they had. And then, of course, 1 Stanley Cup with the LA Kings. So pretty decorated career for him. And he was a true leader on his teams. Every team absolutely loved him. And certainly turned out to be one of the most consistent defensemen in the entire league. So let me know if you think maybe Thor would be Hall of Fame material. And that's going to do it for this episode. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. The support helps me out a ton. I'm probably going to do one more Marvel character before we, probably make the switch and do some DC characters just for fun. I don't want to use up all the Marvel characters before NHL 24 comes out, because we will be doing these again on top of the franchise mode series that we do. So it was definitely a fun one, and until next time, have a good one, y'all.